everybody, welcome to the almost live show.
Hello.
We need a catchy tune for this one.
Dun dun.
Well, yeah, we need titles and tunes,
yeah.
because we can put them in this now. Now it's
we
not
can.
a live one, we can do it all properly. So hopefully we should have no problems with the audio. We should be a lot better. So we should speak, and Steve can speak now.
I can, yes.
So that's it. So between us all, we should be absolutely fine.
Use our words.
And now we can edit in. We're not going to edit this in any form at all, as in taking stuff out, so don't panic. We'll put in all the usual waffle and where we haven't got a clue what we're on about, but it sounds good.
And when you then suddenly come up, and the box should be up here somewhere.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Yeah. Steve's here. Theoretically, if you go like that, squeeze Steve in there and everything else. So, yeah, what we're going to try and do is work this different ways. We're not sure if we're going to have Steve here or if he's going to be popping up or all the bits and pieces as we make our way through.
Bless him.
But generally, this isn't going to be any different from the normal live shows. It's just that we're recording this at almost 3:30, so we're only an hour behind already, which is about right.
Sounds about right for us.
So it sounds about right for us. So the idea is, say we can edit this. What will happen is, after we finish, we will take it upstairs, run it through some software, upload it, and then hopefully we'll be fine. And that way, if you haven't got trouble with audio and stuff, we can tweak it to make it a lot better. So we shouldn't be going and all of that. Yeah, that's it. So we should be a lot better. Well, that's the theory.
Splendid.
So yes. So hopefully your questions, which I've left some upstairs. So in a minute, I'm going to have to run upstairs because I've printed them off and I've left them upstairs. So I have to pop up to the office.
Do I have to sit still so that when you edit it back in, you
just like,
and then not it,
and then I'll jump back in? But we're not going to edit because I'm not going to spend 2 hours of editing. So it'll take 4 hours to edit this off. By the time it renders it, it'll be a nightmare. So yes, at some point I'll leave you two yapping and I'll off and everything else. So from my point of view, getting on with the RB6 coming together. To be honest, it's very much similar to how I've done the bike. Looking lovely and glossy.
It looks very nice.
And everything else like that. Obviously, the painting is the big thing on this one, so we're going to be really covering about painting, decaling, and then glossing to a high finish. Hopefully like that. If it turns out like that, I will be happy because that one did turn out very well. And all those things.
Nice.
Loads of you have asked me about the glossing, how I did the glossing, all the bits and pieces. The easiest way is going to be to show you in a one-off type thing. Because to be honest, I redid this and I glossed it without masking the canopy, straight over everything. So now the canopy is lovely and clear. And it worked an absolute treat and it's come out fantastic.
I did wonder why you had it there.
Yes, because I had left over when I was doing that and I thought, what else can I do? And you know that thing when you're doing modelling and something's going really well and you're thinking, right, what else can I do?
It's too good to waste.
It was, and it was a case of that's it. It's a wonder Buster isn't glossy now because he was going to be next, but luckily I run out at that point. But no, so I will be doing a standalone and I'm just going to call it clear coating, and that's what it'll be. So it won't be about painting, it's purely going to be about glosses and different ones we use right the way up to this stuff, which I think is probably the ultimate. Downside to it is it stinks. Pretty potent stuff.
Right.
You don't really want to be doing it in your little flat, put it like that, because it is quite whiffy. But I know there's lots of people out there who decant aerosols and do it from an aerosol point of view, works just as well, and those things. So hopefully we can cover that on a little bit as well. Something else I will mention, because I've been asked, for some reason I tend to get spates of questions, same question. The other one's about casting. For some reason, last week and this week I've been asked loads of time to show about casting, so I'm going to give that a whirl.
I'll bring in my little display. You'd
don't
enjoy
do
that.
That thing's horrible. Somebody's cast off a cast off a cast off of that. It's got more holes in it than an aero bar. Absolutely diabolical. It's got most of the mould left in it, actually. You could go along with tweezers and pull out all those bits of silicone mould out of it.
I'm glad you noticed it, because I didn't.
No, I did. I think it's more silicone than it is resin, actually. But what I plan to do is I want to do a little mini diorama base of perhaps like the trench run and stuff like that with the Star Wars kits, which I'm going to do towards Christmas.
Right.
Going to have a Star Wars month. Nobody knows about it yet because I've just invented it. But for the film coming out. So we're going to have a Star Wars special SIG month. And I intend to do the trench run.
19th, isn't it?
10th, isn't it?
Is it?
Is it? Oh, God. Steve? Star Wars coming out on the...
Yeah, I'm the clue.
Oh, right. So that's coming out at some point in December. Between the 10th and 19th. We'll be all right.
Either way, I'm free.
Yes, so you're free. So, yes. Funny enough, I think we're having a boys' night out to the cinema. Well, we'll be camping since Monday or something until it comes out on Friday. Take it in turns in the tent at the front and everything else like that. So we're very much up for that. So that's what I'll be trying to sort those out with you guys over the next couple of weeks. The glossing one maybe the end of next week, because obviously going to be doing it at the same time as the RB6. So that's going to be gloss work. I might as well do it at the same time, and then the casting one I'll do it afterwards. So we talk about doing little casting and big casting and things like that. I am by no means an expert, and I don't have a vac chamber and all of that. All I have is a steady hand, and that's about it sometimes. So yes, that's those two. But yeah,
It's December the 18th.
See,
Oh, close.
you were closer than me. You win. Yeah. So December the 18th, we'll be there definitely. So yes. Very good.
Splendid.
So they're the big topics coming up. The other thing as well, no, I'm not doing 2. Do you know what? I've had loads of people saying, we'll do 2 of these.
Oh, I'm with you.
Because everybody wants to see it in those markings, and I've got half of everybody else
the
wants
metal.
to see it in just the metal one. And now I've had about 6 or 7 people say, do both. Because, it won't take long. They're not massively complicated kits, and in that way you can do one metal and one, because a load of you want to see the camo type stripey with the metal and the day glow panels.
Sorry, I've got a stiff neck, I do apologise. I must admit, I think it's about time you did an all metal finish.
I've got the lightning in there.
Yeah, but that's only one compared to all the other camos that you've done. So I think you should do an all metal.
Bearing in mind, for the saying of all metal, this is Vallejo. That's their metal. That's aluminium or aluminum for our American people. I have to turn that off, it drives me mad. I do when he's on a good bit. Hold on. Stop him. There. Something like that. So yes, so hopefully we'll do something like that. He's on his church. So yes, that's me. What have you been up to?
Well, I ditched the Land Rover.
Right, not literally.
Not literally ditched it.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't enjoying it that much because it was rubbish.
Yeah.
I think it was more the fact that I probably made mistakes more than the Airfix, because I can't imagine it would be that bad.
What, you can't imagine Airfix have actually made a mistake?
Yeah.
Right.
On a newer kit. So obviously listening to when I was here with you last about obviously sitting down and enjoying it rather than having to fight my way through it.
Yes.
I remembered that I had 2 Tamiya 48 Spitfires in my stash, which a couple of bits had already been started. So I started putting them together.
Lovely.
Again, I don't know if it's laziness or not, but I thought I'd do them in flight, just purely so I didn't have to worry about major details on wheels and all that sort of stuff. And that way I can close the cockpit up as well, just purely to get myself back into it, into the flow, because I've not had much time to do it anyway. So
true.
So it'd be just nice to be able to get on and do something, because I am quite frustrated that I haven't got the time to do it anymore.
Well, never mind, you have to find time.
Indeed.
Then the kids, then the family.
Exactly. So yeah, apart from that, I've been busy working, going off to musical festivals this weekend just gone.
Yes.
London, centre of London. 3rd time we're going through London. God, they're bloody mad driving in London.
Well, yeah, they're a bit more speedy than us. Yes.
I gave somebody a concussion in the back of the ambulance.
Yeah, which is quite good.
She was sat there.
She was fine before she got in.
It was one of our staff. Sat there driving along. Somebody cuts me up, so I put the anchors on the brakes, and her head hit the side of the ambulance.
Take her to the hospital.
Oops. So yeah, wasn't good, but never mind. But yeah, I can't believe how mad they drive.
Yeah, different world, mate.
Oh, and it just.
Right, Steve, what have you been doing?
I've been working on my Abrams ABV.
Assault Reach Vehicle.
Yeah.
Just getting there, let's know my acronyms.
Yeah. I've started obviously doing the lower hull.
Very nice.
And I don't know how well you can see the kind of shading where the non-slipping.
See that? Yeah.
Yeah. First time I've tried it of putting the Your Grime wash in with the paint and spraying it over, and it gives an amazing effect. Because you always think, oh, I'm going to get that dirty effect, and easiest way, and it stays on there permanently, and it's obviously got the right tone and blends in well. So that's the top tip.
Yeah, absolutely. Mixing the paint is something I get spoke to a lot. I don't tell people to go off and do it, because I just worry about being sued about breaking airbrushes. It's fine, it's not a problem. But as Steve said, it's one of the easiest things you do, because the clay wash will also give a slight bit of texture to your paintwork. So on armour especially works really well. You know?
Yeah, and that's the rest. That's got to be the kind of the turret.
Yeah.
And all the other bits are in several pieces on my bench. So that's coming on a treat. And apart from that, I've been spending a lot of money on new kits.
Oh, what you bought then?
Right.
Go on, show us your stuff.
The first one, I've been after an Airfix nap, and they brought out a special.
Oh, done a twin.
Yeah. It's got all that crap paint with it.
I was going to say, you have to use their paint though.
No chance. And then I bought the Hurricane.
Yes, very nice.
Fire.
Yeah.
And then from Japan, I've got the Sand Troop to go in my collection, which is excellent.
Very nice, yes.
Something totally different. The old
Yeah, I did see that at the local dealers, and I was like, really? Seems a weird subject matter, but it works, doesn't it? Really nice, something different.
There's lots of different versions you can do, all different bits on the front.
Yeah.
Actually, you can have a plough on the front instead of the fork.
Right. So you have a plough. Ah.
Got the old tap,
Yeah.
which is quite nice.
Crikey, he has been on a step ending spree, isn't he? He's still doing.
I know, a new one by Italeri. Don't know how long that's been out. And finally, something I've been wanting for ages, non-armour, is the old 262.
Yeah.
So that's one of my favourite aircraft. So
very nice.
I'll
Yeah.
buy one of them.
Big one in 30 seconds.
Yeah. So, but I did buy a load of little bits and pieces as well. But yes, bit of a spending spree through my.
Yeah,
definitely. I must admit, I did get a little bit carried away when I was spying yesterday. I had to make up some money to get the minimum spend, and I've actually bought a Space 1999 one purely because my mother brought me around my old kid's toy one sitting over on the seat, that green and white one. I got the die-cast one, so I bought the 72nd one. So I've got that one coming tomorrow, and I've got the Mobius new Ranger from Interstellar. So if you wanted to, you could put it onto a Saturn, Airfix Saturn kit. They did the 72nd one, because it sits on the top, that's what it does. You could do it like that. So probably not though. But two kits I never would normally buy, but it's one of those things I was looking and thinking, yeah, well, I could do that. I quite fancy having a go at that. So yeah, that's it. In the basket they went, so they'll be here tomorrow with a few other bits and pieces.
Splendid.
So yes, I thought I'd sort of make the effort and do something like that. But yes, and apart from that, as I say, I've got the de Havilland Sea Hornet there to be on a review this week as well. So apparently it's horrible. So I've been told it's not very nice. It's quite a horrible kit and all the rest of it. So.
Oh, okay.
Talking of that, we were saying about other things I could gloss. I did get carried away, and I thought, I know what needs to go really glossy. So it was like when I had that spare lacquer on the go, I forgot I'd done it now. So I thought, I know, I'll re-gloss the Hawk.
Oh god.
So again, I didn't bother masking the canopy because it's gloss. And it's got a horrible decal system that never worked on it anyway. So now this thing is a lot more shiny than it was. The only thing is, my airbrush coughed because I was bad, and it spat some black specks which have now been sealed in the lacquer. But how good does that look now? Probably out of scale now, it's too glossy, but it was a case of, right, okay, we're going to make this one. Got a cup full of lacquer left over. I'm an expert. So yeah, I went right the way over it like that. So yes, never mind. Another one sorted. So yeah, I've got two very shiny aircraft just because I got carried away. So it's a case of, yeah, we'll do both of them, be fine. What could go wrong?
I still got my Black Hawk to do, yeah. With all its removed before flight tags and stuff.
Steve's moved his. Where's your Hawk gone?
Gone that we always see in the background. Is it gone? Or is it just
No,
here?
it's still there.
Oh, is it just every week we see it there catching dust?
Probably why you can't see, it's probably under too much layers of dust that it's it is there. But I have actually, if I can get it, just dug this out of my kind of shelf of doom. The old long range desert group Chevy book. So I'm going to plan on seeing what I can do with that. But I've just started by putting some rust tones on. It's had some chipping fluid on. I just need to start putting the colours on now.
Very nice, brilliant.
It's one of those that you started and it kind of got put in its box and kind of got shoved under your bench, and so I just dug it out and see what happens.
Way to do it.
That's the LD something.
LIDG.
There you go.
So you're all better than me. Come to that. Look, aircraft, tanks, I'm all right. Give me something like that, not a clue.
To be honest, it's a wonderful kit if you can get hold of it. It's from Tamiya. I know they've reboxed it quite a lot recently, and you can get it now with some kind of artillery piece, but it's well worth buying. And some of the extras you can get for it are superb.
Accurate Armour do a version of it as well, don't they?
I don't know. Don't know if they did.
I thought I saw a resin one somewhere.
Don't know. Steve gone loud with echo now.
He has, hasn't he? Echo.
I say we have echo cancellation on. Never mind. Right. So questions.
We do.
Right. So
we have some.
Is there one with Steve I mentioned, and when he's up, I'll leg it because I know I've got one for him upstairs. I don't know if I go back on my phone and grab them. Hold on, I might be able to get them this way as well. Go on then, read them out from where you go, and then I'll catch up with what we've got.
Okay.
Here.
Right, well, the first one is from John, which is post 2. It says, Phil, Sid and Steve, I love the live shows and hope the new format works out better for all of the Flory members. My primary interest is in shiny racing machines, so I really enjoyed the Ducati build and I am looking forward to the Red Bull build, especially the priming, painting and the glossing bits. Thank you for continuing to provide great information to us lesser model builders. From USA.
No problem at all. Yeah, as I say, this one really, the build is going to be pretty quick. It's all really going to be about painting, decaling, priming as a preparation to have hopefully the same type of finish we had with this one, or as damn as close as we can get it. So that's really what it's going to be all about with that one. So
does
yes.
it give you wings?
Well, this is it. Not so far.
No,
because it's definitely not this season, is it?
Well,
I'm not going to go down that route.
You know what you need to do, don't you? Scratch build some wings just for a laugh.
Oh right, okie dokie. Right.
Post 3 is from Andrew. Hi all, love the new video quality. Just got a 4K laptop, so bring on the higher resolutions. Anyone got anything specific they are looking forward to seeing at Scale Model World?
To be honest, it's a bit early on all that, isn't it? I don't know if there's any that they're planning to bring in, because a couple of years ago they had helicopters there, which was quite interesting, wasn't it? They had the Huey and the Loach. Then they had the Lynx. This year they had the tank, wasn't it? Sat there, it choked us all out on Friday. So I don't know quite what their plan is for this year. If they've got a theme particularly or anything else like that. I haven't really looked into it. We'll be there as ever, taking over and causing chaos.
Definitely.
So yes, no
wouldn't be any other way.
No, absolutely.
Post 4 is from Ian Smith. Hi Ian.
Ian.
Good day lads from Montreal. Just if anyone has had a situation where you were test fitting some parts for any ideas you had. Just if anyone has had a situation where you were just test fitting some parts for any idea you had, and the next thing you know your idea is built and ready for paint. I just had this happen. I'm writing this on Monday night for me, and stopped and said to myself, what happened? It was great fun, pure creativity in action.
It's probably okay if you're doing the smaller kits, but as you say, when you want something big, it's very hard to sort of fall into it.
Unless it's that big, you literally fall into it.
That's it. I've been in situations where when I've been filming, I've thought, I'll just do this bit, and literally before you know it, I forgot to film it and I've done it. So that's when I turn around. The bit on the camera when I say to you, and it went together really easy, so there's no point showing, is where I've got a bit carried away and built that section and didn't record it because I just got a bit ahead of myself. I do that quite a lot. To be honest, like the back end of the Ducati, doing all the bits and pieces, like the lights and everything, it went together so quickly and easily, it wasn't an issue. So it's just a case of, yeah, that's fine, no problem at all. We're good on that. And then I turn around to the camera and say, it just falls together that bit, so I haven't bothered showing you. It's because I forgot to turn the camera on. Mm-hmm. So yes.
Anything like that for you, Steve?
Yeah, it's easy to do, is that, where you might be waiting for something loading on your computer and then you just turn to my bench and next thing you know, I've spent 2 hours at my bench when I want meaning to, and stuff like that. But yeah, it's easy to do.
Yeah, it's sometimes as well with me, if I'm doing something that's quite complicated, I'll lose myself into it, because I'm sort of concentrating on it, and then I'll sort of, you push a bit too far ahead than I needed to, again, for filming purposes. So my downfall is filming it, which nowadays I tend to leave the cameras rolling, which
Just
I can't do anymore now. And I'll tell you why. There's a good thing to this, is because that camera over there is recording almost, it's not in 4K, but it's doing the top end now as what it can do in 1080. So as you say, it's like 2 meg a second or something. So I've got 32 gig SD cards, 2 of them in that, which technically only gets me an hour recording time. So 2 hours with 2 cards in there. It's got twin slots and records one and then onto the other. So I can't just leave them rolling like I did. Otherwise I'd be permanently running upstairs and emptying. So now I have to remember, today when I've been filming, as soon as I have to stop recording. Otherwise the file size is going to get absolutely insane. Because don't forget, we've got the other cameras as well. So when they all come in, you do a 30-minute segment, used to be, 4 gig. Now it's like 20 odd gig. So my hard drives will just fill up instantly. So I have to be a bit more careful now about just recording and it not doing anything. And it's just the time it takes to get them off the computer. It's 6 minutes to get 32 gig off the card onto the computer. So it's like, you have to think about these things again, where I didn't have to worry about it before.
Too much thinking for my part.
It is.
Yeah, you enjoy that. Next one is from Andy. Hi guys, looking forward to tonight's new format show. My question is, using the new AK Extreme metal paints, I've been having problems gluing parts together. I am using Tamiya Extra Thin and Tamiya White Top Cement, but they both find it hard to get through the metallizer paint. I know a few others have had the same problem on the forum. What did you use on the engine for the Ducati, and did you have the same problem? Keep up the good work, guys.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The AK Interactive, because it's an enamel paint, I think did we show it on the live tank when I peeled it off of the fuel tank? Yeah,
because I scratched it or something.
Yeah. We basically, if you look back at the show, we did it live on there. The fuel tank, I'd given it a coat of black AK primer just to start off with, just for seam checking really. And then when I put on, we had a few little gaps, so I did the usual of the extra thin mix with sprue and did it on there, and it won't bite, it doesn't melt in, it won't go near it, it can't penetrate the AK stuff, so it literally peels off like PVA glue and doesn't do the job at all. So that is the only downside to it. To be honest, the engine goes together so well, being Tamiya, as you can imagine. You don't really need glue. It's that good a fit. And I used the white top because I was a little bit concerned when you tend to use the extra thin with metallizers, it does that thing of sort of melts it and it sort of goes a bit fizzy, as I call it, because it just blurs the actual metal finish. Instead of it looking nice, it looks like it tears and comes apart. So I use the white top glue very sparingly, just a few dabs, and then put it together. But it's not one of those things, it's not like two halves of wings being together or something else. It clicks almost together, and it's got screws which hold it together as well. So it's not in a situation like putting on a pylon, let's say something that's got some weight. So if you were putting on a pylon or something onto an aircraft, you got AK on it, the glue you might use needs to be a little bit more beefy. So you might be in the case which everyone says to me about, do I do it? And I don't, and that is to clean the part before you put it on. So if you've got a pylon and you're putting it onto an aircraft, say, you may need to scratch clean the actual paint off of the area it's going to stick. Otherwise it's not going to bite and go in properly. But I haven't used it in that anger yet, so, and to be honest, I'm planning on using the Vallejo stuff to do the 104. But I might end up using the AK if it doesn't look right. But you know, that's the Vallejo stuff on the engine looks pretty good to me. So happy about how that came out. So it'll be interesting to see if it does. Steve, have you had any issues? Used it yet?
I've had a quick test spray of it, but I haven't really used it in anger yet, so I couldn't comment.
It is that thing. I think from our point of view, I've only used it in like a testing type scenario. It's not like I've properly put something together with it yet, so I haven't actually got to that point, so I can't really comment on if it is that type of thing. But so with all metallizer paints, I don't tend to use extra thin. I tend to use super glue for holding things in because it will bite and hold. And then perhaps I'll scratch clean the area it's going to go to. Not all of it, just some of it, so it's got enough bite and holds onto itself.
Okay.
So yes.
Number 6 is from Neil. Hi Phil, just wondered if you plan to do the Edard 48th Vietnam scooter. Has a feature build. I for one would like to see that one done. Many thanks.
I've got it beyond, I did have. What have I done with it? I can't even see it anymore. Have I lost it? The A4 scoop. Yeah, there it is. Underneath the MiG-21. That's it. Right in front of you. Right in front of you. Push. That. There. Down. There. Up. That. That's it. And this is where the power of editing comes in now, because I built a few of these. Everyone knows about me building a load of F-18 Hornets, but 250 of them, I'll just say it again. But actually I've built over 50 of these as well. That was the other part of the contract. It was to do Phantoms, Scooters, and Hornets. And what I'll do by the power of editing now, I will pop it up. And you can see it now, some of the ones I've done. And I've built a load of these. But to be honest, I've almost got over it all now. So I probably will end up doing another F-18C. I might do a B or a D. 2-seater F-18s are always quite nice. In a Marine Corps scheme, something else like that's quite nice. But I also do like that kit. It's one of those kits you can put together in an afternoon. It's a nice small kit. The only problem you have with that particular kit is getting the intakes right and getting them on. And then for that particular one, the avionics hump on the spine, getting that in there to a nice fit where it's nice and clean and you don't have any issues with it. They're the only two little problems. But apart from that, the kit itself's fantastic. Great detail. And it's lovely being in the dark gold grey and the white, because for weathering it's perfect. It really is nice. So yes, definitely is on my to-do list.
How's your voting coming along anyway?
For
your next build?
Well, yeah, that's been chosen.
Oh,
where have you been?
I've been busy. I've looked on the site for over a week.
Oh, yes, no, we've got over there is been chosen now, so it's definitely going to be F104, and it's just the markings it's going to be in.
Yep.
And it's a toss-up between, as we were saying before, being in the German colours or the US Air Force one in metals. Metals. Everyone wants the metals.
Post 7 is from Ian Smith. Hi again. For spraying Tamiya X35 semi-gloss, would you do the same as spraying a gloss? AKA larger needle and lower air pressure. Cheers.
Oh, sorry, that's me with Windows 10. Sorry. I was just... Do you notice it does a sound every time you touch it? I must have had my old version where it didn't do it. You've only got to go near it and it's playing tunes.
Ding.
Ding. So yes, hopefully Stevie will come back there. I was just playing with the setting. What was the question?
Spraying X35 semi-gloss, would you do the same as spraying a normal gloss? Lower air pressure, a larger needle.
Okay, now this is where this is going to come and fall apart now, because for years I've been telling everybody to do a bigger needle and a lower air pressure for doing glosses. But after doing that all goes out the window. Because if you want to have a gloss finish, I find a higher air pressure, closer to it, and a thicker paint. Sounds weird, but that's how it worked for that one, because some of those panels had 7 coats. Thin coats went down. This panel, because I got it wrong and had to redo it, had 2 coats. It had 2 coats of paint, 2 coats of lacquer, and it was done. And it was 10 minutes work. Purely because I changed my way of doing it, and it was a case of, right, let's have a thicker paint, so you need higher air pressure to be able to get it out. Okay, but I was in a lot closer, and when you're putting it down, it's very much like a car painter does it. It's a very heavy coats all the way until you do a dusty coat to start with, just to get some bite. You come in literally 10 minutes later, or 5 minutes later in my case, next heavy coat right the way over it, and then between coats, I come along with the hairdryer on hot setting, just over the top to stop it from moving. You leave my GHD portable one alone. What's wrong with it? He's all right. Where's my little GHD one? The handle broke, so I had to tape it up. Anyway, look, it works. And by doing it literally a thicker paint, you don't get the runs. Not like that. So you don't get the runs that you would typically get, and because of this, because it's like big and it's flat, I thought I was going to get runs all over it and all the bits and pieces, and I didn't. And it goes, and because it's thicker, it sticks, and it doesn't fall off and come away. And then I was thinking, well, perhaps that's just because it's on flat areas and things like that. Then I did it on these guys, doing it literally with just the clear coat, and went right the way over it, and then that way it was just a case of expecting perhaps you get runs, and you didn't. You just didn't get anything at all. There's not a run on it anywhere. Yet when I did that one, I had runs all over it, and that's because I hand painted it. Hand painted the gloss onto that one to get a gloss. Come in this time, it's a far better finish and everything else. Again, it's a thicker paint, higher air pressure, closer, and flooding it. And then it dries, it just sticks on there and dries. But as I said, we'll cover a lot more about that a bit later on when we're talking about these things. So,
okie dokie. Post 8 is from Douglas, who's post 6, so must be a new member, or newest member. Hi Phil, Sid and Steve, my name is Douglas, pronounced my...
Well, that's his second name, isn't it?
Yeah. And I'm a recent subscriber from the Atlanta area in Georgia, USA. This site, including all the excellent videos and tutorials, has really helped and inspired me as I've gotten back into modelling after 40 plus years. A couple of questions. When creating a really thin black airbrush wash using Tamiya X1, is a good ratio 9 parts thinner to 1 part paint?
Right, avoid using acrylics for making a wash. They tend to go very gritty and don't particularly, you get like a tide mark with them. What I would recommend is to use either a dedicated wash, which you can buy, or do the old ink trick. So we use like Indian ink, things like that. You can do for doing washes a lot easier. Or your other way, of course, is to go in and use something like a traditional more oil wash. So in that case, what you actually do is have a situation where you get yourself, I haven't got them here anymore, put them away, a normal oil with a bit of turpentine mixed in, make up your own wash, and away you go and do it like that. The trouble with the acrylic ones, as I say, is that you get a drying tide mark with them, and sometimes it can be away from the item. So if you've got like riveting detail, you put them on there, you get like a ring around them instead of it up against the bolt, and that's where your enamel washes and everything else come in a lot better. 2. Is Pledge Floor Wax preferred over a Alclad Clear for gloss, or do they both have optimal roles? They're basically just the same thing. The reason people use clear is because it's cheaper. Well, it used to be, it's not so much these days, but it used to be dirt cheaper bottle, and that was the thing to it. There's not a lot between I've got a bottle here, which is their Aqua Gloss, and Future is almost the same thing. They do their clear coat one as well, which is that one, but that one's a lacquer based one, and it takes a while to dry. But again, they're very nice. Personal choice, it's that thing for money. You can save yourself a couple of quid and go down the clear route, or you can just buy those. So really there's not a lot in it though, I would say.
Please explain the measures you each take to reduce or eliminate orange peel when airbrushing. I struggle a lot with this problem.
Okay, watch the Ducati build, because I've cured my orange peel problem now. Again, I think orange peeling is to do with your paint being too thin. You need a thicker paint, as weird as it sounds. You need to put it down at a higher air pressure, and you're putting it down heavier in one, and then you walk away from it and it's got time to self-level. Don't artificially dry it with like air from your airbrush, because I think you get like a skin effect and it's pushing on it, and you get that sort of golf ball orange peel effect on it. But I always used to get trouble with orange peel all the time, and I've done this one and it turned out perfectly without me even touching it, especially when I really got the hang of it at the end doing the colours, and literally just with this panel that we came along with, this one here, it was just a case of spray, not worrying about it, not fancying with it too much. 5 minutes later, came in, second coat right on the top, spray, and away we go, job was done. Did all the bits and pieces, we deckled it, did the riveting detail things on there, the catches, and then it's a case of lacquer coat, same thing, exactly the same ratios, right the way over the top, 5 minutes later, next coat right the way over it, and then left it under a bowl for a couple of days so the dust can't get to it, and we turned out absolutely perfect. But I think if you've got your paint too thin, if you're in a situation where you're spraying at a low air pressure, it can just be a case of you get a little bit of orange peel, you come in with your next coat, you get a little bit more, and before you end up with tons of it, and then you end up being sanding and polishing. And don't forget, I've never polished that. A lot of people have said to me, then you polished it. No, I haven't touched it, because to be honest, the gloss work was still drying at the time of finishing the filming, and now it was a case of, right, I could come in now and probably polish it up and get an even better finish, but I don't think really you're going to improve on that. The only thing I was really lucky with, on the video you'll hear me talk about it at the end, I got a fingerprint up on the top near the fuel tank, and that's where I was holding it while I was doing other bits for about 10 minutes, and I left a very fine fingerprint in there, but actually it's gone. Where it's continued to dry and level over time, it's gone, and I haven't got it. It's disappeared on its own. It's like magic. So I'm very happy with it. Really, really happy with it. But it's come out well. But have a look at the Ducati one. The builds are all up there. The next part will go up tomorrow, which will cover all of the gloss work right the way through as well, and you'll see all about it. But as I said, that was my secret to it now, and obviously it's personal choice, is forget this thing about very thin, low air pressure, high air pressure, thick paint. Put it down wet, look across the part. So when you're spraying it, I had them on lollipop sticks, and literally I was in a thing where you hold it up to the light, you can look across it, big heavy coat. When it looks wet, you go over it again and again, and because it looks wet, if you get overspray from your main flow as it's going over, it blends in, it physically melts into the stuff that's wet, so it's not like you've got a drying effect going over it. So when you've finished with it and you've got it here, it looks wet. You know, but it's not going to actually come away, because immediately it's getting a skin on it, it's drying, and then I just put it away, put it down, got a dome, one of the little plastic container over the top, and then left it so it dries naturally all on its own. And that's it. And it was simple as that. And the thing is, guys were telling me, I've got a friend of mine, Russell's, what he does for a living, and he was saying, you're overcomplicating it, it's rubbish. You just want to get in there, get it down, don't play with it. So that's what I did.
Fair enough. Thanks for taking the time to help me through these questions.
No problem.
Finally, the 4K format is superb and adds a lot to the clarity and quality of your video streams. Keep up the excellent work, Doug.
Thank you. The thing is, with the 4K thing, we're not actually doing this at 4K at the moment. We're just the top end of what we can do. Because we use the PAL system here in Europe and UK, we're running at 50 frames per second. If you're in the US, it's at NTSC, is it, which runs at 60. We could do both because the camera's capable of both. But this is the top end before we step up to go to 4K. So yeah, but we tried this last year and everyone was like, I can't watch it, it just doesn't work, it buffers and plays up, and I think it was YouTube couldn't cope with it at that level, but now everyone else is doing it. I thought, well, we'll crank it up, see what happens.
Indeed.
So yeah.
Post 9 is from Malcolm. Hi Sid, Phil and Steve. Yeah, my name's first.
See? You spell it wrong though. Ah.
You spelled it wrong?
Yeah. I'll let him off though.
I always thought it was spelt with a Z.
I love the live shows and hope that they nearly live will be just as good. My questions are: 1. When removing flash and burring from very small parts, aerials for example, what is the best way of doing it without my delicate parts pinging off into the shag pile?
Well, I must admit, I do like my Alex scrapers. Again, to be honest, it is here because I used them on my exhausts on this one. These are in primer, ready for paint. But again, it's got a little bit of burring around it, and I just whip around it with this. I have a little pile of shavings here, blow it away. Perfect every time. I just think these things are great. For the investment, I think they're about a tenner. They're not cheap, but they're good quality. They don't bend like the cheap eBay ones, it's like right angles.
I bought two now.
But I tell you what, it's just one of those tools which once you have it, if you remember to use it, which is usually my thing, because to be honest, when I first had it, it stayed there attached to my magnetic strip for months and I never used it. Now I tend to get my go-to tools, which literally, as we all know, is basically my orange scissors, my knife, a couple of spring-loaded cal amps, a couple of skinny sticks, and this. And that's what I have next to me all the time. And then again, things came along, I did it on these guys. Anything that's a round surface, something else like that, I just immediately reach for this, give them a scrape, and it's job done. I don't even come in with a sander afterwards. Don't think you really need it. Occasionally you do, you know, if you get a big mark. But now I just use one of the flat areas to actually just pick away at the actual sprue tab itself. Once that's gone, then I just come in with one of the curve size, normally bigger than the item. I don't actually do one that's the perfect size of the item. I usually go the one bigger, and then just a couple of passes, job done, and you can feel it just slides up and down, no problem, and you're good to go. So yes, Steve, and would you?
Yeah, I've got the same spray.
Yeah.
I also use one of the lethal scalpel blades just to get in there.
Yeah. I'm not allowed one of them.
No. I just noticed this one. This one's quite a big one compared to.
Oh yeah, but that's because I had to back up that other thing that's going later. So
what you normally use? I mean,
no, yeah. It's only because I needed to cut a box up to pack that.
If you do use scalpel, go for the round curved blade one. I find it a lot better, especially if you use a curved bit to scrape than just a straight edge blade.
Yeah. I'll try it, and then next week you see me in bandages from head to toe, blood seeping out of me. Because as I said, I'm not very good with anything that's sharp, so that's why I use this. Look, that's the maximum blade I've got in there, because I am a nightmare.
2. Did Phil ever do a review on his new tool drawers? I'd like to know what his thoughts are on them as storage.
Yeah, now to be honest, I haven't done it yet because I thought I'd spend a bit of time using them. My biggest problem is finding stuff to put in them. And I'm getting there now, I must admit. They're great because I have all my screwdrivers and anything, calipers and everything in one drawer. And then coming down, I've got all my tools. And because you've got the space and it's laid out, I can just come in here and I can see it. Where my other one, which is the one over here, you have to dig. So now I have them all in here, and I think that's about as far as you go at the moment. I have got junk in the others, but it's one of those things, they are absolutely handy. And for me, once I do fill them up with all the rubbish, I get some nice little labels for it and all the rest of it. It's just handy because you've got everything out in a nice wide area, you can pull them out and have a look at it and go through it like that. But I do like them, they're handy. As you can see, we stack stuff up on them now as well. So I've got somewhere to display stuff, which is handy, and piles of rubbish and everything else like that. So I'm slowly filling them up, but I think if you have got the space, they are very nice as an investment. Even if you had them underneath your workbench, you know, so like here I've got old kitchen cabinets, and I have actually thought about moving them, taking out the kitchen cabinet, to be honest, having it where you are. And having them there, so you'd be banging your knees on that instead. But I'm quite handy because for my point, I can just spin round now.
Indeed.
See, on my swivel chair, I can grab what tool I need. So if I need my bending pliers, I've got all my scribing stuff in here, all my various bits and pieces.
Just don't do it too fast.
Yes.
The spinning around bit.
Why? Knock something.
You might send, especially if you've got something clipped to you as well.
I don't do that. That's why. That's deliberately why I don't have one of these things. Actually, we were saying about that because we was on about the bibs you can wear that attach and then you go off and take it with you. I was watching something the other day and the guy actually used a terry towel. Yeah, the old fluffy towels. Now he has it on his lap because if anything falls into it, it grabs it. If you had like just a sheet, it'd bounce off or roll away. But being a terry towel, you drop anything on it, like a small part, and it just grips. And also, he uses a white one, and he was saying if he drops a part down there, then he's fine. He can just, there it is, no problem at all. Yeah, if you don't, you know what it's like, goes between your legs, down your thing, and all the rest of it. The worst time is when you stand up and you're walking around trying to find it, and then you find it in your slipper. An hour or so later, that's where it went. I've done that before. That's where the little bugger went, and no, when I couldn't find it, it's dropped in your shoe or your slipper.
I'll just go and wash it first.
Oh no, it adds to it. It's fine.
Looking forward to the F1 build so I can start mine. Thanks, chaps.
Oh yes, we're doing all right. It's going to come together and be absolutely fine, I hope. I've just done all the little, look, it actually lines up. Being Tammy, it lines up absolutely beautifully. My only problem, if I'm honest, I've got to colour match the front end because the decals for the colour don't obviously cover the nose. The decal covers to here, the nose you have to paint yourself. The same goes for the intake at the top. You have to paint the intake yourself because the decal only does the first bit.
What, the yellow?
So there's the bit for the rear. You just get the first line of it. The rest of it you have to paint yourself. So you have to colour match to this yellow. And they describe the colour in the instructions as something a bit weird. It's called like chrome yellow or something. Well, I don't have chrome yellow. So here it is. Yes, they're saying it's TS47, which means it's a can from aerosol version. And the colour is a chrome yellow, they call it. And I don't have chrome yellow. So I might try and colour match it. Or I just go out and buy a can of
whatever
it is and do it that way.
Indeed.
And decant it. But yeah, it's a very cleverly thought out kit the way it goes together. But you have to keep on top of it, that's what I would say. I.e. don't rush in there and build it, because as I say, all this suspension work and everything else, the trouble with it is that it goes through the middle of the decal. So if you've built it, you can never put the decal on.
Yeah.
And it does mention it in here, because it actually says here, at this part here, number 5, put the decal on. Well, you haven't even built it yet, so let alone paint it. So it's a case of, well, hold on a minute. So, yeah. Different way of doing it.
Indeed.
But you have to think ahead, which is pretty much what I did with the Ducati anyway, trying to think ahead and do it and all things like that. And then you worry yourself mad that you're going to scratch it as you're putting it all together and all the bits and pieces. So it's one of those kits that you're thinking, oh God, I've got to touch it. You just don't want to touch it once it's together.
We're up to date.
Are we? Right.
We are.
What, there's no others whatsoever?
Nope.
Crikey. Right, you all talk amongst yourselves on the spot now. Discuss Bandai. I'll go and get the other question.
How about just moving stuff?
Yeah. So we'll talk about your M1070 transport that you're after getting.
What, you mean this one over here?
Yeah. So if you got one, Sid, what would you put on the back of it?
To be honest, I wouldn't know. I've got me Bradley. So I could put the Bradley on the back of it.
That'd look good.
That's the only thing I would think I've got really that could go on the back of that.
What's that? Hey, what?
On the back of the transport, what would I put on the back of it? I say the only thing I've got is me Bradley.
I did see one of those Facebook, quite good this week. Bloody great Arctic American one. Huge, lovely looking rig. Big flatbed with one of those Tykes. Yeah, the red car with the yellow roof. Strapped on the back of it, and that's all it had going up the motorway, up the freeway. Brilliant. Right, okie dokie. I've got more, but these are two I had
newsreader now.
Printed off. Okay. Right, this is from Steve Stanford. Subject, Tuesday question. Phil, what brand of enamel paints do you recommend for a high gloss finish? You were discussing with the Ducati. If you don't want to go down the automotive route, similarly, what brand of gloss lacquer do you suggest as well? It is true, because we were speaking about it, the automotive lacquers can be quite expensive. Obviously, Matt was in the forum talking about it. Depending on what one you get, there's obviously cheaper, there's more expensive. From a hobby point of view, usually you can go down the cheaper route because it's on such a small scale and you can get away with it. But generally, lacquers, you want to go down obviously the lacquer route. Now, Model Master do a great range of enamel paints which all have a high gloss finish. Very difficult to get in the UK. In fact, Creative have them on sale at the moment. I think they're 10% off all there because they're getting rid of them all.
Right.
They do a range, but again, Tamiya's own glosses are very nice. You're basically going to go with a gloss paint, and obviously Tamiya, they do an enamel range outside the UK. Guns as well, they do a very nice range of enamel paints as well as obviously acrylic and things like that. So don't be too dissuaded. If it wasn't because we wanted this to be Ducati red, you could just go down and use an acrylic gloss, I think will work as well. But from a lacquer point of view, to go with this high, gloss finish and all the rest of it, you might want to go down the enamel route. And then obviously that's a different ball game. If you're thinking about obviously cars and bikes, is it Hiroboy? Is that how they pronounce it, Steve?
Yeah, Hiroboy, HIROboy.com.
Yeah, they have a phenomenal amount of car and bike stuff on their site. We're talking all the aftermarket, but also they do a fantastic range of paints, which I do believe are their own brand as well.
It's called Zero Paint.
Yeah, And with those you can colour match to almost everything, and it's smaller bottles, they're about a £5 I think each, and all things like that, and you can go down those route, and they're designed for modelers, so I don't know if they're a little bit thinner than your standard paints, but certainly from my point of view, after using this, and we've got it there we go, that's how much paint I used off the top. Bearing in mind it wasn't full up in the first place, I've used a smidgen off of the top of the actual paint bottle here to do all of that, and to be honest I had to redo one of those panels again, and I took it back to nothing and repainted it again as well. So you're really going to use hardly any amount of paint if you're doing things like this. If you're doing bigger things like aircraft and that and wanted to go down the glossy route, then you know, you might want to think about perhaps actually the automotive. You can get touch-up bottles. This is a touch-up bottle. You can do that. Just thin it like you would normally. You know, you don't need to use 2-pack activators with these as well. Yes, it's going to take forever to dry, but in some ways, from a modelling point of view, you could use that in your advantage, because as I say, this hasn't got an activator for the lacquer coat. I just put it down neat, which is probably what saved my bacon, and didn't actually has got rid of the fingerprint on top because it self-leveled itself over time and done everything like that. So yes,
it's a very good finish.
But yeah, it is a very nice finish. But generally, there are some out there. There is various lacquers. Let me just have it. We're done with it. Put it down there. The clear coat gloss, which is like an enamel version, which is from Alclad, which is now Ammo, is it? MIG Ammo redoing all their stuff.
Right.
So yeah, that one actually, if you put that down quite heavily, nice thick coat, that does do a nice one. But generally, automotive lacquers tend to be thicker than the hobby ones, and I think they give a nicer finish. So it might be worth investing and popping in and just getting a touch-up bottle for a £5 of a lacquer, because it's going to last you forever, you know, and you'll be good to go with it, and you can do it that way. But generally, I'm not too sure up on lacquers. As I say, I don't tend to do it very much. I don't know exactly which ones. Perhaps it's something we need to do an on-test, get some various brands in and have a play with for different types of lacquers, which is something that I'll probably do when we get some onto doing the actual lacquering and clear coat type of thing. But an enamel paint, generally, all the enamel paints, which are high gloss finish, do give a very nice hard nails finish, you know, and all the rest of it. But as I said, it's more about how you're putting it down, I think, rather than the actual paint itself. Because as I say, I had orange peel my entire life until we did this, and then I cured it. So heavier, thicker, closer. That's the way I really got over it. So it'd be interesting because I've got to try and repeat that now on this. So,
which I'm sure you do fine.
Hopefully. If not, it'll go black.
All one colour.
Yes.
So we got a new post.
Oh, go on then.
Which is from Mike. Hi guys. With so many new paints coming on the market, I still find that nothing sprays better than good old Tamiya cut with 90% isopropyl something alcohol.
Isopropyl.
That's the one.
Alcohol, yeah.
Do you know if they will ever introduce new colours onto the market, or why they don't more often? Yeah, or why they don't more often. I just don't have much luck with Valero, and guns are tough to get in the US. Just seems like it would be a dream if Tamiya covered the wide ranges of pre-mixed colours that those other two manufacturers do.
Yeah, it's always the thing with them that, you know, obviously we speak about it a lot. There is gaps in various things. Sorry, we've got terrible feedback off of Steve for some reason today. It's worse than ever now we're doing it this way. I don't know.
Not me.
Yeah, normally it's him who gets the feedback. We're getting it off of him today. So yeah, the thing is that we spoke about this, and I've spoken about it doing our various things at the moment with new paints we've got on, and we were saying how that it just seems to be that his world is wife releasing paints. Some of them are better than others. When our go-to paints like Tamiya and Model Air, there is gaps in the actual thing. Depending where you are in the world, guns is particularly difficult to get in the UK. Properly, it always tends to be that it's either there or it's not, on the various things. So I think it's just a case of you get them where you can. Sometimes it is worth just going on eBay. It's not going to cost you a fortune to get the colour you need from something like Hong Kong, where the paint is readily available. and stuff like that. It won't kill you. It won't be too bad, as in, that's it. He's cured it. He's plugged himself in. He's got his hearing aids in. And then that way you shouldn't have any problem at all. That's how I would do it. But as I said, the trouble with the paint ranges is every manufacturer has gaps. Tamiya technically don't do the real modern stuff. Guns are pretty good if you can get hold of them. And say their acrylic range, is no problem at all. Mr. Colour, which is obviously their enamel range, again they're very nice as well. But you can't get Mr. Colour in the UK. Nobody actually does it, I don't think. So that's always a problem. So again, eBay is really you want to go to on that. And then obviously, Model Air, if you don't particularly get on with it, then that's a shame, because technically that is the one that is pretty much got everybody's colour there. And to be honest, I've got the one I should have got the other day, because I ended up buying two, as the wrong ones. But we have got the pre-German one coming as well, which will be in tomorrow, because I bought two of these by mistake instead of buying one of each. So they've now cured the problem of, and I know a lot of people have said that you can already get them, but this apparently are the better colour match ones and stuff like that. So it cures all the problem. But yeah, with paints, I don't know. I tend to have what I have covers everything I need, and if it doesn't, then I'll just bite the bullet and go and get it from where it's needed. Like Ducati. Indeedy. So yes. Do you ever have trouble getting your paints?
Only because of my colour blindness.
Well, yeah, that probably.
I just purely go with what I've got, which is Tamiya and a few model.
Everything's grey.
Exactly.
Yeah. What shade of grey would you like?
I do get a bit paranoid about it, because I know that probably some of it I'll probably completely wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I suppose.
Yeah, but that's right, because after you leave, we just all snigger.
Yeah, it's fine.
So it's fine. Don't do it to your face. It's fine.
Exactly.
I thought it was a lovely red colour.
Turns out it's purple.
Yeah. The way you did your frigate destroy the other week, I thought it was a lovely shade of green. Yeah. So if we come to your house, can we change all the labels?
Why not?
That'd be brilliant. Actually, we're going to do that. I'm going to get the hot water out. I'm going to soak all my label and pop round your house.
That'd be quite amusing, that would.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the sort of thing I'd do.
It said it was yellow.
Change all the lids as well.
Yeah, that's it. Change the lids and everything. You would have a clue. It'd be fantastic.
I wouldn't. No.
Yeah, you'd be.
But yeah, I must admit, I am looking into getting some more Model Air stuff, because, like you said, the newer modern armour stuff and all that'd be ideal for that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But again, I still like Tamiya. I don't know. Bearing in mind, I started off with the metal Revel enamel paints.
Yeah. What, the tin lips?
Yeah.
Yeah, lovely. Yes.
Even obviously, I decided then to go out and buy, as many as I could at the time. So I was going out sort of buying 6 to 10 tint jars of Tamiya at a time, just purely to change me paints. And they work for me. I mean, I still have issues, but I think that's more down to the fact that it's probably me still learning. I
think, if I'm honest, that acrylic, and unless you've started off with acrylic and you don't know any different, acrylics are harder work than enamels. Because enamels go down better, as far as I'm concerned. They give a better finish. You don't have any problems with your airbrush you do with acrylics, i.e. spitting, clogging, stopping and starting. Enamels tend to flow better and everything else. The only reason everyone uses acrylics is because they don't stink the house out, and from a health point of view they're probably a little bit better for you. And the thing I like about acrylics as well is drying time. Not so much of a problem now, but when I was doing commission work, time's money. If it takes a couple of days to dry, what am I going to do? It's simple as that. But sometimes I use like Mr. Colour, which is the got a couple of bottles over here, which is the guns range. You've got Mr. Colour, Hobby Colour, which is their acrylic range, and then you've got Mr. Colour, which is their enamel range. Now this stuff is probably the best paint, as far as I'm concerned, you can get. It sprays beautifully, it covers fantastically, doesn't take too long to dry, and generally it's just almost faultless. The only trouble I have with it is that you have the eggshell effect, so that means you've got hold of your part, you think it's dry, you're holding it, and the next thing you know, you've left a fingerprint in it because it takes a little bit longer to dry. But if you allow that and you're a little bit smarter and you think, right, I'm not going to touch that for a couple of days till it's totally gone off, and then do it, you have no problem with it. And it does, it sprays fantastically, especially if you're going to use something like a self-leveling thinner along with it. You know, these two together I think are the best you can possibly do. And now you're thinking, well, why don't you use it? Yeah, if it's so good, why don't you use it? Purely because, from a health point of view, I'm trying to keep away from the smelly stuff, the hot materials. And it's funny, good segue, I tell you, I know I do this. We talk about hot materials, and a lot of people often joke to me and they say, Phil, why do you call it hot? This is why I call this stuff hot. I melted through the bottom of my cup. This is my mixing jar, melted through the bottom, and then it continued to melt right the way through the polystyrene overnight. That's why I call it a hot product. Because acrylics don't do this. But what it was, I knocked up some paint, put it in my colour cup here, to be honest, lacquer, and then left it overnight. Luckily for me, it was over there on the spray booth, and I've got enough paper towel because I just put one layer on the other. We're about this thick now. It's like a tree. In fact, you could go back through the layers, and it's not a joke. There must be 30 layers of paper towel.
Quite thick.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get a stool to go up with it. But yeah, and it soaked it all up. But this is the trouble. This is why we do call this a hot product, because it does melt through things. And as I say, through polystyrene, we put a bullet hole through it, and inside here it's completely melted. It's all gone rock hard inside as well. And that's the fumes coming off of this, which have physically melted the inside of the polystyrene. That's why it's a hot product. It's all dry now, but you feel that it's gone rock hard at the bottom. It's perforated the bottom. That's why I call it a hot product. That's why I don't like to use them particularly, you know, purely because of what it does. Now, if you'd had that knocked up and put on your desk, you'd come down in the morning, it would have gone all over your desk, you know. And that's I thought it's a shot glass. It would probably be okay. Apparently not.
Obviously.
So yes. From my point, because it was originally when I left it that night, I left it like that, and it's melted. I woke up come down in the morning. It's like, where's it gone? and that's what happened to it. So that's why because people often say, what you say about hot products are normal. That's why it's a hot product. It melts things.
You ought to do that again, but film it.
What, on a time lapse?
Yeah.
Which is something that camera does very well.
I think that'd be quite amusing.
Well, just we'll watch it and then drop down through. And then falls into the electrics, and there's a fire, and it's all in time lapse of everything blowing up around here, you know, shelves falling over, the flames going across. So yeah, that's why I call it a hot product, purely because of that. So, you know, yes, sorted. Right, so I've got another one here. Go on in. And it's one I can't answer. Bjorn has said, no, he's not Bjorn again, it's just Bjorn. I'm not going to try and do this second name. Right, hi Phil, big fan of your site and your work, really makes modelling a lot easier for the beginners like me. I have a question regarding Tamiya's Lemon 1, or Lime 1 I think they call it, cement. I'm trying to avoid solvents, something we're talking about here, as much as possible in my modelling, both because of health reasons and because I share my hobby space with my girlfriend. There's always somebody to upset it, isn't there? There's always one who says, what are you doing?
Sharing with a girlfriend?
Supposedly, the Lime 1 cement is supposed to smell a lot nicer or less than ordinary extra thin. Have you tried it, and what is your experience with it in that case? Bjorn, I'm not even going to try and pronounce it. I haven't used it. That's the thing. I've seen it everywhere, but because I've got extra thin and everything else, I don't tend to do it. Have you used it, Steve?
I haven't. No. I've seen it everywhere, but I've never got round to using it. My suggestion will be to get a mask for your girlfriend. And that solves the problem.
Or a gag, just to shut her up.
Yeah.
Yeah, just gag her, and she'll be absolutely fine then. Yeah, I don't know. I suppose you haven't.
No.
You wouldn't know what the Lime 1 looks like, so you can't tell the difference. I don't know actually. Perhaps we'll throw this open to the guys on the site if anybody else has used it. I've seen it, but it's one of those things, because I use extra thin. The only thing I was aware of, and I don't know if it's true or not, the Lime 1 was originally designed for the home market, i.e. the Japanese market, to go into schools. Because say Tamiya do a lot with the schools. A lot of their products are on mainstream with the schools. Tend to use their paints and everything else. And I do believe it was designed for the younger market. You know, for them using it. So it could be a situation like Steve's just about to find out and tell us over there in Dictionary's Corner. That what happened is that you can be in a situation where obviously the stuff smells a lot less, but does the same thing. Well, why don't we all just use it? Would be my call. I don't know if it is the same though. That's the thing.
Yeah, this is from Tamiya's website. It says this cement uses limonene extracted from citrus fruits and is very safe to use and comes with no unpleasant smells. It can be used for plastic model assembly as well as for cementing plastic plates and beams. Also, this cement has a strong initial adhesiveness not seen with other limonene cement items.
Oh.
And that's about it. So
I think I'm going to have to get a bottle just to have a play with. We'll see how it tastes like. Stuff's great. Do they do it in litre bottles? Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what it does. I don't know if it will have the weld action because obviously that's the difference between. Well, no, here it is. Sorry, hidden. Yeah, extra thin and their normal Tamiya cement. The normal Tamiya cement doesn't weld like the traditional ones do. This one, it does say on here somewhere about it, it's like a resin base, which means you can use it for sort of small filling jobs and stuff like that. It dries obviously a lot slower. It's got a great gap capability, but it doesn't physically melt the two parts together. So that's the difference with that one. But yeah, certainly, you know, the way in. Somebody was speaking to me the other day, they were saying, why don't you use the contact, the old needle glue for doing big parts? You know, because that way it's just a thick version and it has got the weld action, which is probably correct. You know, just zip around with that. But obviously with those, you have to keep jabbing them and getting them to flow and all stuff like that. So, but yeah, because that's the contact, isn't it? They call it the professional contactor glue, which is the Revel one with the needle. For doing big parts, because obviously it's small, it's precise, you can just zip around.
Blue bottle, yellow lid.
That's the one.
With the needle out of it.
With the needle out of it. Yeah, that's the one.
Post 11 is from Murray. Evening, guys. I'm having a problem spraying Mr. Metal Colour paints and wondered if anyone has a solution. The paints appear to be drying on the tip of the airbrush after only spraying for a few seconds. Stopping the air flow and starting again sometimes clears the problem, but usually results in the plastic becoming flooded with paint before the problem begins again. I'm using H&S Evolution with a 0.4 needle, spraying at about 20 psi. Any help appreciated, Murray?
Yes, Murray. Well, this is quite a common thing with the buffable paints. It's because it's a buffable that you're using. They've got like a pigment, if you like, in there, which is what enables the buffing process. The trouble with that is that when the enamel or the lacquer-based medium that carries obviously all this pigment dries off, it does dry. And then you end up, we've all seen it, when you take the cap off of a bottle, which we have a bottle right here, okay, you do that thing, you unscrew the bottle and it dries on the lid really quickly. Then you need to go in and dab a bit out or add a little bit of thinners to reactivate it. That's what's happening on the end of your needle because it just dries so quickly. There's no easy fix to that one. Literally, it's just a case of if you're going to be using the paint, is to use it immediately. Don't do that thing of like literally, okay, put it, spray a bit, leave it to one side, come back and then spray it again. My other little tip would be, funny enough, I've been doing other paints, so we've got an eye water on the go today, or an eye water, is to do that thing of literally blow it all the way through, a quick blast to clear the needle, okay? So literally, before you pick up to spray your model, blow it through, full pelt, literally just to clean it off. And if you have got a pinch clean nib, which I am on this one, I think. No, I haven't. It's on the other one, wherever the other one is. There it is. Literally, just before you come along, pinch clean the end, blow it through, spray your part, and then again, if you have got a pinch clean, you can just come along, clean off the needle and do it like that. And it's just that memory thing. You know, it's just like a habit of going through and doing it that way each time. You know? So, Steve, you ever problems like that?
Yeah. Well, it's quite a common problem. I always have my roller kitchen roll in front of me, and then I'll be spraying, then keep giving it a quick blast, and then carry on. That's the only way you really got to get around it.
Yeah, it's unfortunately there's no fix, is it? It's just one of those things with the paint, because it does dry extremely quickly. You know, a lot of people have said to me in the past, "Oh, it dries out. Well, just add a bit more thinners in there, lacquer thinners, and just rehydrate." Because that's what I do. Because to be honest, this is a classic example. There's probably quite a bit in the bottom. You see it, but it's dried out. What I'll do is when I come to use this one again, I'll literally just give it a bit of a squirt of some lacquer thinners, cellulose thinners in there, mix it, it'll be fine and go again. But yeah, it is the drawback to that actual type of paint that it dries off. It's like an acrylic on speed.
It's quite a good habit to get used to every so often when you're airbrushing. Just give your blast through with your airbrush just to make sure there's no clogging up in your nozzle, and all the way through. That's what I do.
Yeah, you'll see me when I'm doing the videos is that every now and again I'll briefly, even though if it might not even be in shot, I'll come off, and when I disappear you'll hear the airbrush go full tilt, and that's just me, because as I'm spraying I'm noticing the spray pattern is coming down, is lessening slightly, and that's because you're getting build up on the needle, and where it actually joins the needle to the nozzle, just around there perhaps there's some particles, and it's just affecting everything. You come off, blow through it, what you've done, you retracted that needle all the way back, cleared out the actual area, so when you pull full tilt it, just a little blast, it just blows that drying crud out the way, and then when the needle comes back in and reseats, it's nice fresh paint and everything else, and you carry on. But also if you have got a pinch clean tip, which I know obviously a lot of you haven't, but if you have, it's great, because you can just do the habit of having a bit of paper around next to you, blow it out, come in, wipe it off, go again, and you're just in that habit. Especially when I'm doing pre-shading, you'll see me do it a lot, and I think even describe it a lot of time. I'm off saying, right, blowing through, check your flow, those types of comments, that's what I'm actually doing. It's blowing it out, making sure that when you've got the right amount of trigger pull, you've got the right amount of spray that you're happy with, and you're not getting it stopping and starting. But if you get that thing where you're doing it stopping and starting, a lot of it is caused by bad paint mix, i.e. the paint's a little bit thick, but perhaps it's thin at one end, so obviously the heavy stuff drops to the bottom, it goes down in the business end of your airbrush, so when you're mixing it and all the rest of it, you've still got heavy thick stuff in there, so make sure you either externally mix in a colour cup, well not that one, but generally in a cup, then tip it in so you know you've got a good mix. But if you are like me and you're doing it, make sure that you put the paint in first as well, the thinners in first, then the paint, mix it up, then go with it as well. But as I say, it's just that thing of like a memory function that you're spraying, okay, come off, blow through, clean needle, go again, and all the rest of it, and that's where you get the best possible finish, and a lot less stopping and starting and spitting and everything else like that. So yeah, that would be my thing to it.
Okie dokie.
So,
Yeah,
yes.
got no more comments yet.
No more comments yet. How long have we been going? I don't even know what time we started.
Just over an hour, about 3:30 was it?
Was it? Crikey, hold on, I've got a thing up there. I don't know, I can't read it from it, too far away, whizzing around on the camera. I'll never be able to see that one. So yes, but no. Anyway, in the news, because we covered this, we were talking about earlier, it was obviously Bandai. There's a bit of a thing, and I'll say it because there's a load of idiots on the internet. I can say that because I don't think I know them. But they were slagging off Revell. Now let's face it, I'm not Revell's biggest fan on a business point of view, because we had a bit of trouble with them many years ago when they didn't like us using our old name.
Yep.
And they threatened to sue us. So I'm not by all means, their biggest fan like that. But the idiots who are on the internet now slagging off Revell, saying that it's them that have told Bandai that they can't sell to Europe and the US and everything else like that. And there's loads of people on there. Hello! It's right, your mum just appeared in the background. Bless her.
Quick one!
Yeah, that's it. This little face appeared around the corner. So yes, a lot of people were just on the internet slagging off Revell and saying that it was them, that they got in contact obviously with Bandai and said that they can't sell, and then they went and threw their dummies out of the pram to Disney saying about it. At the end of the day, it's nothing to do with that. I can speak for Revell because obviously they made a comment briefly about it. But it's not Revell. It's nothing to do with them. It's purely to do with licensing. Licensing is an incredibly complex thing. I can guarantee Tamiya have had to jump through hoops to get Ducati on this bike and to get all the thing for it, because it's all to do with licensing. They've had to pay probably a small ransom to be able to put Ducati on it, even the logos and all things like that. We know the RAF even do it to Airfix, that they have to pay to have Royal Air Force written on the side of their Hawk and all the rest of it. That's what it's to do with. So don't have a spat at them. You want to have a go at somebody, have a go at Disney for charging companies vast amounts of money to have licensing. Revell, at the end of the day, they're going to have the fine molds. Fine molds lost or gave up or didn't want to pay the ransom, whatever it is, to Disney for doing their stuff. Revell have bought the rights to the fine molds kits, which are going to come out, because everyone again is saying, oh, if you've seen their new releases, they're all crap. They're going to have the fine mold stuff. The only thing is, the Millennium Falcon's going to be 300 quid, which is the same one, so it's going to be a lot of money when it comes out. But they are going to be re-releasing the 72nd stuff and the 48 stuff, I do believe, of all the fine mold stuff, run up to Christmas and post Christmas when the other film comes out. They've got the spin-off, haven't they, and for the next film. But a lot of people have been commenting on the internet, and it's like, really, come on guys, you know, understand it's licensing. It's not Revell, it's nothing to do with them at all. They are literally just stuck in the middle trying to flog their stuff. And yes, I know it's their snap tight stuff and all the rest of it, which isn't brilliant, but it's great for the kids and they love it, you know, and stuff like that. If you want to blame people, blame Disney for probably the sheer, God knows how much they charge to be using and doing molds. It'll be something horrendous. And apparently they're only doing contracts per film as well. So you know there's 3 more films coming. So Bandai could lose it for the next one, so they won't be able to do their next bits and pieces. But I myself did go out and buy quite a few kits from Hobby Link Japan before they closed it all down and everything else. As you know, I've reviewed them. That's where all of mine have come from, all the Star Wars stuff you see me do. And Steve, he gets his the same place as well. We just buy from Hobby Link Japan, and we've been great fans of it, you know, and it's fantastic models and absolutely fantastic. And everyone's now saying, well, you're not going to be able to get them. Trust me guys, you'll be able to get them. Just go on the internet, there'll be companies getting them in, bring them via the back door. eBay, just go on eBay and buy direct from Japan. They're not that much more expensive, you know. But I know a lot of people are like, oh, now you're going to have I'm going to be held to ransom for the kits, are going to cost a fortune because somebody's going to have to get them and all the rest of it. Everyone immediately panics, and it's like, it's not a problem. Just let it calm down for a little bit, then you'll notice it filtering onto eBay, and then you can buy them. But I've bought off of eBay in Japan, and then, you know, it's literally a couple of quid more, that's all, than what you get it from Hobby Link Japan. And Hobby Link Japan are cheap. Yeah, they do discount everything, that's why they have been quite good. But then you get stung on postage, and if you're careful, when you look, you can actually find deals on eBay that actually work out cheaper. I saw a Y-Wing on there the other day, which was the same price exactly as what I paid for it after I paid all the bits and pieces. So, you know, it's not a lot in it. There you go, that's my half a rant.
Lovely.
Lovely. So, yes. Well, there we go. We'll
Indeed.
call it quits.
Yeah, I've refreshed and nothing's happened.
Yes. And we're filming this at a civil time. Look,
We
it's
are
now
indeed.
20 to 5 instead of it being 20 to 11. We get our evenings back.
We do.
And everything else like that. So yes, there we go. Well, we hope this has worked a bit better. We've cured the sound problem because Steve's plugged his hearing aids in and everything else like that. So we've got around that problem now. Let us know what you think.
And we had a special guest.
And we had a special guest, yeah, Steve's mum, poking her head round. He'll be back to watch this in a minute to see her head pop round the corner.
Bless her.
She does make good cakes and sausage rolls for the meeting.
She does. Very good. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, no problem with those.
We got a meeting soon as well.
Yes, we've got a geek meet this Sunday. If you're watching this and you're local, don't forget, come along and see us. We'll be here at 4 till 8. We're doing it late afternoon, early evening job.
Lovely.
Because obviously some of you travel quite a bit of distance to come and see us, so we've pulled it forward. Instead of doing it like 6 till 10 as we used to do it, obviously some of you guys won't get home till 2 in the morning, which is a bit of a bummer when you've got work on Monday. So we pulled it forward just a little bit so everybody has a chance to get home safely and things like that. So if you do want to come and see us, next part of the Ducati, which could be the last part, depends if I edit it one way or another. It's either going to be a long last part or split into 2. Not sure how we'll be yet, but we'll get that one done. So that one will be the finished one. Working on the car will probably be up next one on Monday, and then definitely, because I'm going to start on it on Friday, will be the actual first part of the F104. So we'll be working on the Starfighter with all the Brazin bits in there and all the bits and pieces, and then you guys can still vote for what scheme you want. So unless there's a resurgence, it's going to be all metal, I tell you, at this point. So you can go through it like that. But there we go. Hoped it worked. As I say, we've got a few tweaks. We're not sure how Steve's going to appear yet. Even I don't know until I edit him in. He's either going to be sat here for the entire show. So in that case, hi Steve. Or if not, he's going to be full screen. I just haven't worked this one out yet because we were going to do a dry run, but we never got round to it. So we've done it like this instead. Bless.
I've got to be full screen.
Oh, we're going to do full screen, right? Okay. Yeah. So he's going to be full screen, so we won't be able to see us when he's on at all. So it should work better. Just
sure it will.
Little bit of editing and we'll be fine. Good-o. So again, tell us what you want. Do you want like a 2-hour type thing, or do you want a 1-hour weekly thing, and all bits and pieces like that? Let us know how you feel about it, and we can go through it from there. So let us know in the comments section below on the forum.
Indeed.
And we go from there. Lovely. Right, awesome. That's it for us. So bye-bye, Steve. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
Also a pleasure.
Thank you, Sid, for
You're welcome.
Coming up for the afternoon.
That's all right.
Joining us up here.
Gets me out in the daylight.
Yes, and I didn't clear the bench today, so I've just got to move these out of the way and carry on working as well, instead of clearing everything out of the way. So it works even better for me, this.
And I can play with stuff as well.
Yeah, you start playing with stuff. Don't touch that. You're banned from that. Not have your oily fingerprints all over it. Yeah, that's it. The handlebars have come off. Right, that's it from us, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll catch you all again very, very soon.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.